thank everybody for coming tonight. I'd like to start with the minutes. October 2nd, 2019. Has everyone on the board reviewed them? If so, is there a motion? Motion by Rich.
I'll second.
Second by Rich. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
September 4th, 2019 minutes. We have a motion. Motion by Dave.
Second.
Second by Rich. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Minutes from September 18th, 2019. Do I get a motion to approve?
Move it.
Motion by Rich. Second by Rich. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. Okay, public hearings, there's none. Public comments, does anyone have any comments they'd like to speak about? No? Okay. Reports from town officials, town clerk committee. Rich Woodland.
We have returned certificate of occupancy, $12,000 to Hartford Lodging Group. I'll make the motion that we do that.
Motion by Rich.
Second.
Second by Dave. Discussion. All in favor? Aye.
We got return bonds to the unsuccessful bidders for the county roof bid. I'll make the motion that we go ahead and take the refunds.
Motion by Rich.
Second.
Second by Rich. Discussion. All in favor? Aye.
We have a motion to accept the tentative budget as the preliminary budget.
Motion by Rich.
Motion,
Second by Rich. Discussion. All in favor?
yeah. We need a resolution to schedule the public hearing. Would that be at the November 6th meeting, Dale? Yeah. Okay. I make the motion to schedule the public hearing for the preliminary budget on November 6th.
Motion by Rich.
Second.
Second by Dave. Discussion.
So are we gonna review that tonight? Some big adjustments and so forth?
Yeah, we could, sure. Yeah. You do some reviews.
We just have something for that.
No, I know.
Well, you already adopted the tentative as your preliminary. Do you want to just hold off on that to see if?
I think we need to go through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes
Because,
sense.
yeah, obviously, if you've adopted it, it's done.
Yeah.
I think you probably want to just hold on that motion or
Yes.
retract that motion.
Yes.
and then-
So motion to rescind.
We need to go through it.
Motion by Rich. Second by Rich. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
You're rescinding the resolution adopting the tentative as your preliminary.
Correct.
Thought we were going to be done real quick.
Well, I thought it was okay.
Well done.
Okay, so next, so the resolution to schedule a public hearing. Again, Rich made a motion,
For the November 6th meeting.
and then Rich, Leonard seconded.
And that'd be
Rich.
conditioned on your adopting the tentative as your preliminary tonight.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Director of Finance, we have payment of bills and vouchers. Everybody took a look at the bills, if so, got a motion to approve. Motion by Dave,
Second.
second by Rich. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
You want to do budget adjustments? Okay. Dan's got a bunch of budget adjustments, so he's gonna go over those.
I supplied each of you with a copy. There's 3 or 4 of them. First one's in the police fund. And this is to cover costs of buying and installing equipment in 3 new patrol vehicles. We're going to increase equipment by decrease equipment by $17,345 and increase contractual by the same amount. I've got a motion for that.
Motion by Dave,
Second.
second by Jim. Discussion. All in favor? Aye.
The second one is in highway whole town. This is for the funding that we're receiving in regards to the Shenango Road Bridge repair. We're we're gonna increase grant monies from the state for $250,000, increasing county funding revenues by $116,364, and an increase to the offsetting expense for the bridge repair for $366,364. I get a motion to do that.
So moved.
Motion by Rich, second by Rich. Discussion? All in favor? Aye.
The third one is in general whole town, and this is to increase revenue and expenses for lighting rebates that we're receiving for the LED lighting projects townwide. So we're going to increase lighting rebate revenue by $29,079. We're going to increase offsetting expenses lighting contractual by $5,115, and parks contractual for $23,964.
Motion by Rich,
Second.
second by Dave. Discussion? Just to explain, this here is the LED lighting that we did in all the buildings, including the rec center. So we used that money before we had to pay it out, now we're getting it back. So we're replenishing that from the parks budget. All in favor? Aye.
I got one other one here that wasn't in the packet. I just received this information from Rick. He was informed that we're going to receive some additional funding for New York State for Pave New York and for the emergency
Winter recovery.
Winter recovery. That totals $66,937.15, and we're going to increase the revenues for that, and we're going to increase the expense for paving, DB 5112.40 the same amount.
Have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Dave, second by Rich. Discussion?
Those two items came after the governor did his budget, and the senators and assemblymen fought for it. It's a yearly thing that either we can get it or we don't get it. So that's why it's never put into the budget prior to. Our CHIPS money's there, but this is extra. And like I say, after the governor's budget was adopted, they, both of those assembly and senators fought for it and we got it back in a year.
Great. Okay, anybody else? All right, all in favor? Aye. Thanks, Rick.
That's it.
Well, might as well, Rick.
You do something?
Yeah, so Rick had some stuff that we sold on Auctions International. Some of the stuff was leafers and senior equipment, both which we bonded for before. So we're going to do a transfer if we sell it to pay down the bond debt on those items that we purchased. So Rick's got that information.
Leafer number one, we call it, brought in 6,300 on auction. Leafer number two brought in 5,000. Leafer number three brought in 6,100. The hunk of pipe that we had left over from that emergency repair job, repairs to Hartford line, about $430. We don't use that size anywhere else in town, so we got rid of it. The dishwasher that we had from the senior center came in at $1,625, and some of their chairs, extra chairs, that are back in storage here. Not all of them, but a good share of them brought in 110. So the leafers, the pipe, the other two leafers are part-town, and dishwasher chairs are full-time.
So the split on that, the total was $17,830 for part-town and $1,735 for Bolton. So we'll increase sale of equipment revenue, and then it'll be transferred and used for debt service.
Okay. Have a motion approved. Motion by Dave, second by Rich. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. Thanks, Rick. Okay. Anybody else, Rick? Anyone? You got an emergency claim?
I have emergency repairs. We TV'd them offline. It showed that two with sewer manholes needed grouting, sealing up. So those were done. The TV was done about 10 days ago, 2 weeks ago, and we found that there was repairs. The repairs were done one day.
This is Presbyterian home area.
That main line, yes.
Do I have a motion to approve that as an emergency? Motion by Dave. Second by Rich. Discussion. All in favor? Go ahead, discussion.
This is going to prove or disprove that the water infiltration is not from
Yes,
the improper manhole.
yes.
But the emergency is for the holes that he had in the
Holes that-
manhole cover that he had to fix.
They had to fix.
Okay.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. Anything else, Rick?
Just what's going on, the 2 leaf trucks are out. Leaves are falling tremendously tonight, it will be. Compactors are out picking up green waste, dead flowers and garden debris. They'll continue on for a couple more weeks. Catch basin work is being done in Imperial Drive. There's 2 catch basins there that were worked on this past last week and this week, and there's also another one that's being worked on Gilbert Road. It's a huge repair. And mechanics are getting our trucks ready for winter.
Thanks. Okay.
Do we have stormwater, those 2 stormwater in operation? I mean, are they working? And if so, where are they? Or
The what now?
stormwater, the 2 personnel that we brought in?
Yes, they're out working.
So, you know, we had mentioned too, like, when we brought this on, to get a report monthly or so.
Okay.
What areas, and then I think us councilmen are supposed to supply too, like areas of concern too, which I mean, I haven't yet, but I mean, I just asking a question.
The areas that are being worked on are in your ward.
Yeah, oh, sure.
Having been getting complaints and we're taking care of it.
I just want to know, I mean, maybe they're not
That's
telling me, but.
Imperial Drive, and that's what those 2 guys are doing.
Will they be doing Woodbury?
They'll be doing Woodbury next.
Just some, you know,
Yep.
just an update of the project, so we can, you know, we can tell people to there. And the visibility of that.
Sounds good. I just wanted to bring up one concern is, and I know it's a county road, it's Higbee, but in front of Hughes Elementary School, it looks like it's all eroding there, and there's some issues. I mean, is that something that the school would work on with the county, or?
The ditches eroding,
Yeah, and the drains that are there too at all?
it's all county.
Okay. Okay, anything else, Rick?
And we are working for the county, and they gave us a list of roads that we are ditching. We get revenue every year from them, and currently we're working on Red Hill Road.
Okay.
And there's some more work to be done on Mohawk Street. Once our bill is made to the county, so we get reimbursed, then we'll go back into our.
Okay. Rich, anything, got anything in addition?
Second budget.
Okay. Anything, Dave, besides the budget? Any, Jim? Besides the budget?
Did you get a hold of Dan Caruso for the Irving property to smooth that out?
Yeah, it was supposed to be, not done yet?
No, I guess,
Okay.
just,
Yep, I will follow that.
but you did, you
Yeah.
contacted him? You said
Yep.
you put- okay.
I'll follow. Yep. Nothing?
Well,
You got plenty of them?
yeah, we had a meeting at the planning board last night. As you will recall, back in early September, you were approached as it relates to a residential plan development district overlay being enacted off of Woods Road for Conifer, and they had drawings of the unique project that they're proposing to come forward with. You referred that matter to the planning board. It's similar to a zone change. So the process is you look at it, you accept the application, you then send it to the planning board. The planning board then comes back to you with a recommendation that you either approve disapprove or approve with modification. We prepared a written report from the planning board that everybody has a copy of, and the planning board recommendation was that the application be approved with modifications. And everyone pretty much agreed that this is actually everybody did agree that this is a great project. It fits within the definition in our ordinance of a residential plan development district. It's unique. It's got green space. It's got buffering. They're going to have walking trails. They're going to have recreational facilities on site. So I think everybody was happy with that. One of the members had reservations in that they were concerned that the application didn't give enough detail as to potential impacts to adjoining areas. And one of the people from the developers said, well, you know, this is a perfect fit because you've got the former business park, which is basically commercial, and then down Seneca Turnpike, you've got along the corridor of Seneca Turnpike commercial, and then you've got residential. And this would be a transition between all of them. But regardless, they indicated that they wanted, or one member indicated he wanted a little more detail as to how this might affect the other areas. But they did, in essence, approve that application. So what we would be asked to do tonight, since it has been accepted by the planning board and there is a recommendation for approval, the next step would be for the town board to declare lead agency under SECRA, and then we will send that out for a coordinated review. So first of all, I'd ask that we can get a resolution accepting the report from the planning board.
I'll second.
Motion by Dave, second by Rich. Discussion. All in favor?
Next, I would.
I got to abstain. Okay, general election.
Okay. Next, I would ask that we get a resolution that the New Hartford Town Board would declare itself as lead agency under SECRA, because in essence, you're doing a zone change.
So moved.
Second. Motion by Dave, second by Rich. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Abstaining.
Next, I would ask that the application be referred to county planning, because that's what we do with zone map amendment applications. So I need a resolution to refer the application to Oneida County Planning on the rezoning.
So good. Motion by Dave, second by Rich. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
And
Abstaining.
lastly, there usually is a public hearing that is scheduled. It's not mandatory. It's up to you. The statute says you may hold a public hearing. I don't know what the board's feeling on this is. If you are intending to hold a public hearing, I would suggest November 20th if that's a meeting date, because that would be beyond the 30-day SECRA response date.
Is that a meeting?
Is that a meeting?
No.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we should have a public, there's 9 or 10 buildings going in there. It's a large complex. I think we should have a public hearing.
Okay, so a motion to schedule the public hearing for November 20th.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Rich. Second. Second by Rich. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
That's all.
Actually, I abstain, so.
That's all I have.
Just on that, Rick, did you get a report back on the sewer issue up there? You were having our engineer look at?
I think is that the one that's going the other way, and it's good.
Yeah, for the Hartford?
Yeah.
Yes. We had our engineer out there take a look at it. It is doable to run the sewer the other way.
On their dime,
Well,
on Conifer's dime?
I would think that the infrastructure
Yeah, it's got to be.
is got, well,
Sure.
on their dime,
They should have to, because we can't otherwise provide it.
and then it'll be a pump station put in there.
They said they would put the pump station.
Right. But as you're talking about 1,100, 1,200 feet of main sewer line with manholes, to get it go over to the hotel site and down that hill, because the main sewer at Commercial Drive is a 24-inch
versus going the other way is a 15-inch.
Right, we've got an engineering study that says that's the way to do it.
Yes.
And we don't have the money to do it.
It has to be on their dime.
And it's also,
So I spoke to the developer, I said the town not paying anyways. They said they would pay for the pump station, and I also had a concern too, is because they talked about the district, but I found out if they wind up being tax exempt, they're not gonna pay that district tax. So we gotta look at that, and told them they're gonna have to do a certain note or something with the town that holds them still responsible for that payment.
Are they gonna get a pilot?
Yeah, how are they gonna be tax exempt?
Well, I don't know, I'm just saying, usually apartment houses go tax exempt, I mean, pretty much all of them around the area are.
because it's subsidized.
Well, sure, yeah, I mean, he says his rents are gonna be $700 a month in Hartford. He's gotta be getting subsidized from the government at some point. Just like the one, the senior housing, the $12 million project that
All
was passed.
more reason that this is on their dime.
Well, that's what I'm saying, so I already told him it's on his dime. So I said, I don't want a district and then everybody around you pays for it.
Right.
So, again, most apartment houses go subsidized at some point and become tax exempt, just like the big project that was on Middle Settlement. And they said they weren't going, and then it went that way. So I think we should.
Right now, it's not planned to do that.
Correct, it's not, but what I'm saying is I'm beating it to the punch. I told him we're not paying for it, we're not gonna do a district, because if you're not gonna
Right.
get hit with the charge or the neighbors around you, that you're gonna have to pay for this, on his own. And he said he was fine with that.
The pipe and the station.
Correct. Correct. Or he's gonna have to do something, he's gonna have to bond for it himself, or however he wants to do it. But there's gotta be something there that, again, they can't get out of not paying the bill for it, because it's just for him, and no one else is gonna benefit at this
That's right.
point, so. Just wanted to give you that little information, so.
Thank you.
So the sewer district's going to get extended for that purpose?
Is the sewer district gonna get extended? I don't know at this point. Again, it's up to Rick on that end of where that's gonna go, but if it does, the town's not paying for it, that's all I.
No, I'm saying because historically, we've been remiss on extending the sewer district when new things come in.
I mean, it doesn't get added to the sewer district.
Absolutely not, it should be added to the consolidated sewer district.
Right. But I'm talking about the infrastructure part of paying for putting it in. The town's not gonna pay for it.
No, but the district should be created, extended to accommodate the
Right,
pipes.
for paying after, but I'm saying we're not gonna have a capital in there because then it won't get paid if they don't pay taxes, right?
Yep, I agree.
So I don't even want, the district is like null and void if they become tax exempt, really. They're not gonna pay it.
Yeah, no, it's-
So I don't want to even go down that road, because if these guys sell it to someone else and they become subsidized, it's gonna be a free, they're gonna get out of it, and then that bond payment, who's gonna pay it? But the neighbors or the town. I don't really want to go down that road. Right?
yeah, no,
Yeah,
it's-
they never mentioned this pilot from the
No,
beginning.
no,
And the rents were gonna be more than that, as I understood it.
Again, HUD rates could be $1,200 a month and you could still be subsidized. So
Right.
the point is, at some point, maybe they don't do it. If they sell it, another company acquires them through an acquisition, they could actually become subsidized, because you can't discriminate against being subsidized or not. It's not up to us or the town. It's up to them if they wind up doing, whoever owns the building.
Right.
So at that point, they become tax exempt. They pay nothing. It doesn't matter what sewer tax you have or what district you're in, they pay zero. So, that's what I want to stay away from. So if we have to put any infrastructure at this point for their project, they should pay for it, and then, we don't have any hit from that, that's all. I'm just looking out, because I've seen these projects 100 times, that's what usually happens, so. Any other questions with the sewer? No? Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, speaking about pilots, we had the second pilot for Meadows, phase 2. I have the paperwork here for it. We already, yeah, we did it, but I needed a resolution from the town board to reaffirm it, because it wasn't in the minutes. So I just wanted to make sure that we had it, and then I can sign this, it's giving me permission to sign this pilot. This is the one that you looked at and approved.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's saying that this would be a request to Town of Hartford to authorize a pilot in the amount of $200 per unit to support the phase 2 of the redevelopment of the meadows at Middle Settlement Road. So if I can have a motion to approve. Motion by Rich,
A second.
second by Rich. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the PTA has contacted me. Last year, we gave them free at the rec center for the 3 schools, for their association, for their families in elementary school. So they're asking again if it's possible, if we could waive the $200 fee per school for this time. They're not going to use our staff for the parks or anything. They have their own janitor take care of it and clean up after it, and they bring their own supplies. So it's just using the rec center for that night.
I'll make a motion to accept that.
Motion by Jim,
Second.
second by Dave. Discussion, all in favor? Aye. All right, thank you. Had mitigation fees for Homewood Suites for their sub-wall for the dumpster area. It was $651.50. I completed all the pre-development agreement with them. It was notarized. I calculated the fees, and that was the total. And if I can have a motion to approve that.
So,
Motion by Dave, second by Rich. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. LED lights, we spoke about it last week. I'm trying to again get some information for the engineers for the Power Authority. I was wondering if anybody had any feedback for me or any areas that would like street lights or any ideas that they would have for, you know, making downtown brighter in some areas. I know Chadwick's, I know Jim, you were interested in some ideas over there.
Yeah. What was the other, Bradley, you know that, remember you and I visited, there's
Thurston Boulevard.
Thurston, and, yeah. When's the next meeting? The 6th?
November
6th, right?
And then
Is it possible by the 6th if you guys can just write down what you have, because they won't go out and do it, or else I actually have a plan. So if everybody could just take a look, even if you just drive through your whole district and see where there's areas that you feel or anything that you see that you would like done.
The top of Sanger Ave from the village up, and then Gilbert Road from the intersection of Sanger and Gilbert, on Gilbert to the left.
Okay.
There's no street lighting there, and then it picks up shortly.
Right, yeah, it's dark, yep. So yeah, any of those places, if you could just email me or bring them to the next board meeting. I'm gonna meet with the guy after our next board meeting, and I'd like to have him in just so we can kind of get an estimate and move it
Are
along.
we looking at new stuff or existing?
No, new stuff too, now's the time to do it, because we're buying it at like $90 a head, so it's very inexpensive, we'll never get that rate anywhere else.
And they're gonna replace all the existing ones.
Correct. Yep, everything existing is already gonna be engineered, but anything new, now's the time to do it, because you don't want to do it later, because then it's, you know, it's thousands of dollars to reestablish everything.
And I think they talked about this, but what about URD areas where there are no poles? They're not gonna put,
Yeah, we could put ornate lights in, just like you see in the developments and stuff, we can put those up too. I mean, that would all be part of this project. We'd have to start a lighting district for areas that have no lights.
well, yeah, and there are lighting districts, the area that I just mentioned, there are lighting districts around this.
Right.
So they would be somehow assigned a lighting district, yes? Or they'd be in a whole new lighting district.
Dan, I don't know, Herb, what would you think for that?
I have to look at that.
Yeah, because I don't know if you could add it to a district, add them to a district.
There's usually
So-
Russians.
Yeah, but if had been disclosed, probably got to be a new district.
But if we do the districts, they're gonna do the, you know, they're gonna get all that taken care of for us and start putting all this together. They just need a plan of what, because the biggest thing is if, say we go through and do 1,000 lights, and then somebody wants like an area, and they want to, you know, another 10 or 15, 20 lights in there, it's gonna be much more reasonable to do this and very cost effective than to go back and try to do that again, you know, so. Plus we'll get grant money back, I mean, now's the time to do it.
Well, how do you approach a neighborhood then that has no, that is URD now?
The same way if you wanted to start a district, I mean, pretty much just contact the residents. I did it up in Sylvan at the time, back when I was councilman. They weren't interested afterwards because they found out how much it would be, but now they might be interested because
Right.
it's gonna be a quarter of the cost, and then NIMO's not gonna own the poles anymore, so there won't be a rent back.
Find one or two neighbors in there that want to, and they usually bring the rest of the neighborhood.
But we don't have the figures yet to say to the neighbor it's gonna be X.
Well, we don't have the figures for anything, but now it's just to say if we want
It's
it or
gonna be a lot
not.
cheaper now.
Right, exactly. So if they want it, say your district there's a development that wants it. We'll bring it, we'll get the numbers, then we'll see what it's gonna cost them over time, but now is the time to do that, I mean, I probably wouldn't do it after this, because then again, it's gonna be non-cost effective. And we're doing it all as one project, we're gonna bond for the whole project, then we're gonna charge back to different districts. So, I mean, the rate's even gonna be cheaper on the interest. So all around, it's probably the best time to do it,
And part of their studies also to evaluate the existing lights to see if there needs to be higher wattage or lower
Correct.
wattage, so
Yep.
everything is full.
Yeah, and their study is the same price, if we tell them to put in an extra 1,000 lights or leave it the same. We're not even paying for that, because that's all included in the cost. So I mean, like I said, again, it's a great time to do this for your areas if you have any interest. I mean, again, if people want to do it, it might be the way to go.
Or to do the study, and then once you get your solid numbers, then you can approach them, because they may say yay, or no, whatever, but if you've got some solid numbers to talk to them, then,
Right.
I think
you're
it's
done.
what we need to.
Like Chadwick's, Chadwick's area, say you go down to Night Street, I mean, it'd be beautiful to have nice ornate lights going on all through there with great Christmas time, you know what I'm saying? So everybody might want that if it was reasonable to pay for it, so again, you don't know until you ask everybody.
And I think that's the key. How do you get that message out? We can go around our district, but if we're looking at a town-wide system, maybe we should do some sort of a notification that if you, your neighbors, your area would like street lighting, here's what we're looking at. This might be the opportunity to do it.
Yeah.
The only problem is they're gonna ask you about numbers.
Well, absolutely.
So, I mean, if we held it off a little bit and got solid numbers, once we did the study, and we did the whole town, you've got it, whether you do it now or 10 years from now, but you've got that in your back pocket. And then when they come to you, it's not the old same old, I don't know, I'm not sure, it could be this, it could be that.
Could we get definitive numbers if we came up with something?
Well, here's a perfect example. Like Sylvan Way, I know is my council, it's Rich's area now. So I know they've always wanted lights there. They were very expensive before when the NIMO thing. So I already know they want lights there.
On
So
Sylvan Way.
right.
But what about the rest of the area?
Well, there's lights in there's other parts already have lights. Sylvan Way never got it because it got developed and then it was just dark back there, like the way it comes around. It's just dark. So
They're town-owned lights or,
well, they don't have any lights.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So those guys might want it already, so that might be something to put in for it and see what the price is gonna be, and then go to them and say, hey, remember last year was, $250,000, well, now it's only $75,000, it's only gonna cost you this. And we'll have those numbers, I just need to know where's that, again, you guys have been around for a long time,
What parts of your districts are interested?
right, and we're, at least I'm picking out specific areas when in fact, I think we need to be looking at whole neighborhoods that don't have lights down,
Yeah, I think to your point though, I hear both you and Rich's point. I like your point though regarding putting it out there because even though we don't have the facts, we can put out there and saying, knowing that whoever's interested can come forward.
Right.
And then knowing that the back side of it will happen later on.
But what's the right way to put it out there? Because to be honest with you, a lot of the media routes and stuff like that, people don't even see or do it. We did that for FEMA, and everybody came in after the fact and said, hey, why didn't you guys contact me at my house to tell me about FEMA when it was out there in the newspaper, it was online? People don't look at nothing no more. You can spend all the money you want at the town crier. no one sees it. You get 20 people to see it, you know what I mean, that's gonna realize it's there, and then all those other people are gonna not benefit because
But
they
if
didn't
we
read
don't
it.
do that,
No, we can do that, but I think it's more personable if each council person
yeah.
was out there in the neighborhood and knocked on a few doors that knew. I mean, I know for the second ward who wants lighting, who doesn't, from just the time I was around, and I can work with Rich, you know, because he just started putting, you've been around forever, so, I mean, you gotta know where lighting needs to be
I
done.
take offense to that.
No, I don't know, but no, it's not a bad thing, it's a good thing, but what I'm just trying to say, same thing, Rich, he's been around, Jim's been around, I mean, so you guys gotta know the areas that need lighting, you know, I mean, I know Jim even said on Night Street, I mean, I think it'd be great to go down to Night Street and make it look like a little Christmas area, I mean, in the you know, the winter and stuff.
Yeah, and the problem there is like if you have landlords that are living elsewhere, you know, residents are, you know what I mean, they're not gonna, you're gonna make them tenants, you know, so it's gonna be hard to knock on the door without having what to say. It's the, you know what I mean, so that's a little bit tough, you know.
Yeah, I mean, again, I mean,
The key is to just find a couple people in that neighborhood that are interested, and then they'll call their friends, and before you know it, you have 60-70%.
Whatever we can do.
yeah, I mean, listen, if you guys wanna put a paper, wherever you wanna put it's fine, I'm just saying, if you have areas now, I know Rich had a bunch of areas that we already spoke about, that he has, that he's interested in doing that, so it's gonna work out nicely. If you have any areas, just add them to the next board meeting. If you guys wanna put it in the paper, then, you know, maybe Gail can put it in the paper or whatever, it's fine with me. I just wanna get it out there, so at least we take care of it now when we have the price the way it is. So that's what I'm looking at, just the efficiency part.
And if we identify the area, they can probably give us a price on that.
That's what I need. So again, I don't, you know, if you have an area in your neighborhood that needs lighting, bring it to the next board meeting, I'm gonna get your price. Then when I get the price, that's when you can see if they actually want it.
Right.
But I guess a lot of this is us, from our experience of knowing our areas, know where we need light and where we don't need light. I mean, if we go down the street and it's pitch dark, you need light. If it's not, then,
Can we get some input from the chief, lighting some areas? I mean, if they're-
yeah, anybody. I mean, listen, this is for everybody. It's our town, so anybody can give you input, anybody can give you information. It's fine. I just need that so we can compile the actual plan. But without that information, I mean, I don't want to be the only one going out there going, oh, I think I need a light here, I need a light there. So everybody's input is what I want. How to get it to everyone is tough, because again, I look from the FEMA job that we did, you know, and again, people came in after the fact, and it was everywhere. I mean, we couldn't beat that one up anymore, putting it out there, the press, the OD, and the prior, everywhere, and people still came and said they didn't know about it. So again, that, you know, that's what I want to kind of eliminate. So again, anything you want to put in the paper, we'll put. Anything that you got from feedback from the years of experience, we'll put. Or again, any neighbors that you know that are interested, that want to go talk to their neighbors, we'll do that too. Anything, the chief, codes, talk to Rick, I mean, you know, everybody, and just compile a list so I can get it to them, so we can get the plan done for the town. And then we look at the plan, and it's still gonna go to public hearings, and, I mean, it's gonna go on, but it'll help if we have the bulk of it done, so when it does go out to public hearing, and people come, you know, at least they see what's added, what's not.
When you're talking to the engineer consultant that you met with, you might ask him what he's done in other municipalities in terms of getting that word out, what maybe was best or what didn't work best or what was successful.
Yeah, I can ask them that too.
And you've been there and done it, so where you reinvent the wheel, and we can sit around this table all day long and say, this is the best way, or if they found something that works.
Yes, I will ask them. I'll ask them and see what they came up with. But even until I ask them, just if you can, anything you've got now is just gonna be good feedback to give to them, so, that's all.
Be glad to go out with any four of you. You can start early now and just ride, and I'll go with you. Whatever you want.
We'll find it.
Wait, this is real.
I know we've
I'll buy
got,
it.
we got quite a list, huh? Chris, where it's dark, and we got the lawn damages that you guys can't see.
Yep.
You guys can work at night, right?
So, the only thing I'm saying is it's a good opportunity. If we act on it now, it could be helpful, so. All right, guys? Thank you. Good, thank you. Okay, as you know, Joe Boot's retiring at the end of October. As you know, it's been hard to find anybody for planning and zoning to take that spot. I personally asked Joe until we get a new person on planning and zoning, because that's the most important, not the actual codes issues. That's gonna be handled by Larry, our full-time guy. But we still need somebody for planning and zoning to go to the meetings, to work with the developers and get those things done. I'd asked him if he would stay on, if he would come back, because it was a part-time position, until we found somebody to take his position that had the experience and know-how that he does at the current time. So I don't know what you guys think about that. Again, there's no more money in this budget to bring him back part-time, but he'd be coming back in January 1st. And the money that was put in the budget for another codes officer would be coming off that. But at least he'd only be doing planning and zoning. He's not gonna get involved in codes, building permits. That's Larry's job. I mean, it's been Larry's job to do that. So he's not gonna do the day-to-day or any of the major planning with the big developments and stuff. You know, I think it would work for us, and you know, even for liability reasons, we need somebody that has knowledge in those areas, or we're gonna have, you know, some problems.
Did you put that in for the 2020 budget?
I did.
Where, and what line item is that?
For the codes officer, the 55,000 there.
Okay.
So also in that line item, I put that in there because I spoke with John Constance from New York Mills. I'm gonna talk to him again tomorrow. He might also do part-time codes work. So between him and Joe, that would take over a full-time position at this time, again, until we found somebody, you know, full-time for that position. And, you know, again, doing it part-time on both ends, saves on the healthcare benefits and so on and so forth. So before I move along and talk with them further, I just wanted to bring it up and see if you guys have any ideas, or if you have a different idea in mind, you know.
Well, Joe is integral, and I'm sure council would agree at any zoning or planning board meeting. Everyone turns to Joe for some guidance, and I think it's gonna be hard to replace, and if we can hang on to him for a while until we get a replacement, I think we should do it.
Well,
I have to say, last night, when Rich was there, he was just crucial to that meeting. And it flowed so smoothly as a result of Joe and Joe's input, and he's invaluable. He really is.
yeah, and I asked him the favor to do it because I've been trying to find you. I even talked to an engineering group and stuff. It's not gonna happen this soon. I mean, and again, we need somebody here. We got a lot of projects on the table that, again, good code advice and understand the code and understand the process, and we don't have that right now. So again, it's up to you guys whatever you want to do, but
So I saw with that 107K, that would take care of Larry, Joe, and another part-timer.
so you said 100, so the
55, 10, and 42.
okay, so the 42 is Larry's salary.
Right.
That's
Right.
it.
What, yeah.
But 55, so 55 would take care of Joe and part-time for Joe and John, and John part-time. So, but again, John would come in, again, not for planning and zoning, but he would come in to be Larry's help on the code violations, you know, just different code violations, filling out some building permits, you know, those kind of things.
Part-time.
Exactly, so he would be part-time. He does it for New York Mills, and he does it for Yorkville, where else?
He does the building inspections for the town of Langston.
Okay, so, I mean, he's familiar with the stuff. I've worked with him before, out of the town. I mean, he works well with others. He's a nice guy. I think it would fit our needs, and it would at least carry us till we figure out what we're gonna do. But if we have nobody, I think we're gonna wind up in trouble. So, because already now, I mean, you know, Joe's been on vacation in my office, I'm helping with Bill. So, I mean, you know, we need somebody there, at least to help, you know, people coming in and explaining to them different stuff, so. Any input for, you guys got any ideas, no? I mean, again, it's temporary. We'll try it till we get somebody, you know, we'll keep looking. And then from that point there, Larry will have more experience. I set up a training program for Larry.
Larry's doing a good job, but he needs more time.
Right, exactly. No, he understands, and I've set up a training program for Larry, that I'm gonna sit down with him, but before I even do that, I wanna make sure that at least I can keep some people on board to help out, because Larry is at the rate or point that he needs to be to, to take care of it himself, so.
Good transition.
Yeah, I believe so, yeah, because right now, again, Joe leaves, that's it, we got nobody, we're gonna have problems, so. And I don't even know how long Joe's gonna do it. I mean, I gotta sit down with him and figure out. But I don't even wanna go that route if you guys have another idea, or if you know somebody that's interested in the job or whatever, but.
We're gonna post that.
Yeah, well, the codes enforcer, actually, we've been posted, remember we had it up too for, even before trying to get Larry. So.
Yeah.
We had a hard time, we had one person and they left quickly, and then, we got Larry on board, so. And, I just don't wanna be left with one person in the office, and God forbid Larry leaves for some reason, and we got nobody. And we got 100 projects going on, so.
Okay.
All right, so I'll talk with John Constance tomorrow. And I'll talk with Joe further and see if he can do at least the planning and zoning for us to help us on that end until we find someone. All good? Okay. Okay, I guess we'll talk about the budget, or if anybody else has anything else.
Just one quick thing.
Yep.
The Hartford Luxury Apartment, Buck, we gave them a temporary CO.
Right.
And when he talked, he was ready to go in there and do that drainage immediately.
Right.
I don't think anything's happened there, you know?
So the last meeting, were you there?
Yes.
Okay, so the last meeting we had with the engineer, he approved the drainage, just last week, right, Monday?
Brian Madigan.
Oh, okay, no, I was not.
Oh, okay, all right, so we had a meeting, and Monday he approved the drainage, so Buck will be back in town next week. I have to give him the paperwork that he approved,
Okay.
so he can go ahead and do the work.
Okay.
So he hasn't had it yet, because he hasn't been in town,
Okay.
so.
All right, thank you.
yeah. All right, so last thing is probably discuss budgetary items. Want to just- There's two things I found myself, and I asked Dan to change. One was, there's $12,000 in drainage for Whole Town. That was supposed to go in parks. That was for the drainage that we talked about with the pickleball area, and also the drainage on the other side to get all that water away from the football fields. So that should have been under Whole Town Park, not Whole Town, general Whole Town. So that was a line item, we're just gonna change it. It doesn't affect anything, but we'll change it over just so you can see where the drainage is going. So that was one issue. Number two issue, there is $2,800. We have a bunch of railroad bills that we get. So I actually yesterday went through all the railroad bills. All of them except for one is sewer department. They all say sewer right on the bill for sewer laterals that Rick told me about. There's one for Washington Mills over on Kellogg Road, and that's for the crossing that's there. And I believe they said there is no sewer lateral at that one, correct? Is there sewer lateral? I mean, they said.
Kellogg Road?
Yeah.
Should be the Washington Mills left.
Oh, no, but I'm saying the one that doesn't have sewer is the crossing over on Kellogg Road near the Hannaford's. All right, well, they're saying there's no, I don't know, so, anyway, there's a charge that's in, the Whole Town, or wait a minute, yeah, Whole Town for $2,800, but I guess we're gonna call back again, to see if is sewer there or not a sewer. So I don't know, I just read what's off the bills when I approve them, and all of them had sewer on there. So we gotta determine that, I guess. So if that isn't a cost to the general Whole Town, and it's all sewer, then it would come out of sewer. Right, Rick? Okay.
It's $2,600 to
All right, 2,600, okay, but it was on Old Town, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and if you look at all the bills I have in my office, they all say sewer lateral right on them, so again, I don't know. You know. So what I'll do is I'll get together, is that Rick, we'll get together this week and figure that out. So that's the only question that I had, was that. Do I just go around the room? Start with Dave?
I get some questions for Rick on the trash drop off. We're not charging anymore for that.
No.
And,
That was a board decision.
yes, right, right.
We're still charging for the tags though, right?
Yes. $5.
We're not selling brine anymore to Kirkland or Bridgewater?
No. They bought their own, Berkeley bought their own small machine, make it themselves.
And ice control for the school?
Which school? Hartford, no. Muir Village, yes.
And, I went through some of this with Paul.
Oh, David, one question you had about sewer, the 20,000, that was the numbers that we got from 19. So that's how we got that 20,000. You said it went up so much for revenue?
Right, there was something behind it.
Yeah, so we actually made, I think, what was it, Dan, 19,000 or something? Yeah, it was like 19,000, we're not even at the end of the year. So that's why we pushed it up to 20.
All right, and Pulse is back in.
Yeah, their rates, again, went up. We have it in two places. One is in central communications for the town end, and then the other is for the police department. So,
All right, the senior center director, we're budgeting for a position there.
yeah, so we put 30,000 in there, which I put in really for a part-time position, as we discussed at this time. So I did not add for benefits in that package. So if we do get a full-time person, we'd have to lower the wage and add for benefits. We'd have to do a transfer to healthcare.
All right, rec center equipment goes from 1152, that's the chiller.
So that's the chiller and all the payments, yes, that we have to make.
On the revenue side, A10011. True property tax vacant house, 35,000.
It's been down, there's whatever we expend, the amount.
We get back, that's what that reflects.
And it's been, recently the last couple of years, so that it just, there's an offsetting revenue to that.
Yeah, I just wrote another check for 5,000.
Okay, so what is the next line for 10,000?
That's, if there's any demolitions,
Okay, that's demos.
But that we don't get back.
Right.
Well, we haven't so far.
we have to.
We did get a couple.
Depends,
Yeah,
depends
we
on
got-
how the demo came about.
Right, we've got a couple of them.
No, from the county, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, from the county, we haven't gotten any demos back, just so you know up front.
And cable TV franchise,
Yeah, that was always put in Whole Town, which it's really a part town because both villages actually get cable franchise fees. So we changed that over to part town, so now it's in the right area. But that was always in there. I mean, our major cost for the increase in the budget, again, was 86,000 total, above and beyond, but really the major, if you look, was mostly healthcare, pension plans, you know, the police department, those went up. Healthcare went up like 63,000 alone, in the police department. So those are our big costs really that, again, where the tax increase really came from. If you look at the, you know, the drainage department that we came up with, that money really was offset by the you know, things we saved at the parks and other jobs and that we're not, you know, putting back as a full-time or full benefits. So we saved money on that end to do the stormwater to put back in infrastructure. So that's really the only change to the budget. I mean, give or take a few items, of course, went up, like potentially the IT stuff. That goes up every year ridiculously. So, you know, at some point we got to think about that too. I mean, it's almost to the point that, again, it's cheaper to hire, you know, somebody for that full time to do multiple stuff and maybe share services with the library and other departments than it is to spend all that money there. But you
What's
know,
the going rate on if we got a full-time person?
I mean, with health benefits and everything, you're probably looking at like 75, you know, all said and done. But again, that's a full-time person, and I know there was some talk about fear if that person left, where we would be. So that was another thing that came up, you know, if that person left, then we'd really be, you know, in a mess. But again, every year their managed services goes up and up, and there's still a bunch of stuff that doesn't work in this building. And, you know, a lot of it, Barb's taking care of it. You know what I mean? Or myself. I mean, every time there's a cord issue, they're texting, you know, hey, can you come over and fix this, or fix the switch, or fix the server? And I'm going over and doing it, because court's not even part of managed services. So there's so many extra things that, you know, again, we're doing in-house that they're not doing, and they're getting a check every month. And if we had a full-time person, you know, if we had a wireless issue, they'd come and take care of it. If they had an upgrade, they'd take care of it. Because not only are we paying managed services, but every couple of years, we have to update all our softwares for all our Outlook and our Microsoft and all that stuff, and all our server patches and everything. Those are above and beyond additional costs. Like this year now, that I don't have in this budget, but are gonna be assets that, you know, they're saying now, you know, we have to start upgrading some other stuff that we haven't done yet. So again, that's gonna be another cost that we're gonna have to take on. So again, it's just every year, that and healthcare go up, you know, astronomically, and that's really what we have to cushion for.
And that contractual maintenance agreement that we're talking about, that was under the police,
Yeah.
it was always 28 and up to 69.7.
Well, what happened was before it was all under central communications.
Yeah.
So what I did was I split it up now because the police department has their own server system and we have our own server system here at the town. They wanted to do that for security reasons, and the court has their own system from New York State regulations too. So there's three different systems going on in this building, and again, it's for safety and security, but everything that comes out of the police, we come out of the police budget, and everything that comes out of, you know, the actual town itself comes out of whole town. So before, everything was coming out of whole town, and the police was part town. So to make the funds right, I says, all right, put the stuff in police that should be in police, and put the stuff in, you know, general whole town that should be in general whole town. So that's what I did. So that's why it's split up.
So that's between the two, it's 88.
Yeah,
700. That's for what, IT support?
That's just, yeah, managed services. And, yeah, it's not including
A lot of money.
all the upgrades. Yeah, listen, it's astronomical. And again, it's expensive everywhere. I understand that, but
But you said if we hired a full-time person to do that,
yeah, I think if we hired a full-time person, because again, they only usually send down one person anyway. I mean, we don't have complicated systems out of town end. I mean, I know that the police station has some Citrix clients and stuff that, you know, need to be learned or they have to know how to use it. But besides that, again, for the time they're here, I mean, you know.
because Rick, you and I talked, Rick, a database system where all that information, roads repaired or whatever, people will go in, find out exactly what the job status was, when it might be done. And I think I showed you a copy of Massachusetts has got one. it's ideal. I mean, there's no problem. If it says you can't get to it for 3 months, somebody calls you, we're not gonna get to it for 3 months for whatever reason, but if there's a running total, tells you how much money was budgeted, how much was expended, and whatever. So if we had somebody like that, I think it would go a long way to get more some communication on it.
You're not gonna find anybody for less than 75 or 80,000 plus, then you gotta add your benefits. Then, if you're adding 3% every year, you're gonna be far exceeding what you're paying for wholesale, my opinion. And I've been through it where you get someone who comes in, they're the keeper of the store, then they leave, then you gotta start all over again. It's a scary thing. You know, they do. I mean, so having a company come in, and that's their profession, it's a service, I mean, maybe if you negotiate what you're getting, Paul, from the agreement, maintenance agreement, maybe that's something we sit down with, but I'm not for, I don't think that, the township.
Are we going to bid any more on this?
Well, we didn't, because, we wanted to stay with Polchi for the police station, so we didn't do that, because, again, we didn't find somebody that had the experience at the police level. I think now there's other options out there, because I think, other places have used different companies, but,
The way to go through and see what else is out there.
yeah, it bothers me, and Barb's there every day dealing with most of it, it's a lot of stuff, every time it's not covered under managed services, then it is, afterwards we have to go fight for it. I mean, it's just a constant battle, and a lot of the stuff don't even work. I mean, our wireless that we said we were gonna take care of, isn't taken care of. We said, let's virtualize the servers. They said this was the best thing, which it is if you know what you're doing and you maintain it right. But I don't think they had the experience to do it, so now we have issues with BAS and our assessment database. So, and me and Barb had a meeting today with, with the salesperson for Polchi, and we told her, we said, hey, listen, we'd be happy to pay what it is, but we just don't feel we're getting service. You know what I mean? We're just not getting the service that we need for what we're paying for. And again, we still have an issue with the virtualization of the servers and BAS. So, I don't know. I mean, I'm not happy with it. Is one person the right way to go? Maybe not, but I think we really need to sit down and really figure out what's the best option.
So what was the rep's response when you gave her?
Well, hers was their projects that they do are just estimates, and sometimes they go over, and there might be issues that they don't know of. I said, well, you when we first talked, you said you know this stuff in and out, and this is what you do, and this is the best way to go, and this is what's going to help us. I said, well, here we are now. It's not. So, well, we're working on it. Well, it's been 6 months, and we're still working on it. But again, everybody don't hear about these battles, but me and Barb have them, constantly with them. I mean, they might, probably chief, or how are they working for the police department on your end?
Polchi works out very well for the police department. I've got a lot of the same concerns as you, but I also have a lot of concerns that Jim has. One of the concerns that wasn't brought up tonight is the 24/7 service that we get from Polchi. Christmas, Thanksgiving, that's when our system seems to go down. We have a town employee who goes on vacation, goes to Hawaii, and my PD system goes down. I've got nobody. I've got to be back up within minutes, an hour or two at the most, and my guys are dead in the water out there on the street. We're trying to make photocopies of papers so that to get them out the patrol cars, so they start handwriting reports. That's one of my bigger concerns, going to a one-person IT department. We're not going to get that 24/7. They have time off. Who's going to pay this person at 1 in the morning? Sometimes it's 2-3 days round the clock before they can troubleshoot these problems. One person, in my opinion, can't handle it. A company like Polchi can, because they have multiple IT techs available 24/7, weekends, holidays.
Yeah, so again, for the police department, it works great. For the town,
Highway department, no.
right.
They don't work for the highway department.
No, I know, but right.
And how many times I've gone to you, Barb, trying to get them to come, this system here still isn't working, the system in my garage still isn't working, and they point the fingers at the other vendor, and we get nowhere. For 6 months
I
now,
told her that today.
and it's still down today.
So again, I'm dealing with that on a daily basis, and that's where we're at. Again, they work good for the police department, but for all the other town functions, they're not there for us. I mean, we're not, and again, Barb, you can mark me if I'm wrong, but we're not getting the phone calls back in a timely manner. Rich, I know you were trying to get something on your phone, took you 2 days. I mean, again, you know, I'm not making this stuff up. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, we have these issues, so I just think that we need to, if we're not gonna go with a person in-house or whatever, we really gotta figure out what we're gonna do, because they're holding our feet to the fire, worse than an employee, actually, because they're doing what they wanna do. I mean, the other day, Barb called for a password. They wanna charge us for it. You know, it's our password. They wanted to charge us to give us the password. So again, I can keep going on and on. I really don't want to board meeting for everybody, you know, but.
Yeah, that's why I asked, you know, what their response was.
Well, that's their,
You know what I mean?
yeah, those are their responses. It's always on the next guy. If it's a computer error with that, they're blaming it on Northland. You know, again, the chief, we had an instance with, you know, they put in the servers, they charge us the money. They put in the switches, they charge us the money. They did everything, then they blamed it on Northland, had to upgrade their switch, remember? And they wanted to get paid for that. So again, if you don't mind paying, they're great, you know, and if you don't want response, it's great. But if you really want good response and you want to get some quality for the money, it's, you know, it just falls by the wayside. And again, I had another meeting again today with a sales rep, and we got nowhere at the end. Did we, Barb? I mean, she just, all look into, and that's what they do every time, and they just keep charging us, and we just don't get the service we need to.
Would it make sense to split it and keep coach for the police and do something separate for in-house person for the rest of the town?
Well, then it doesn't, because then we have the large cost of the person, because I think the Townsend's, you know, in the 40s, around there, so we're not gonna find somebody good for that. But, you know, so that's the situation we run into. And I'm fine with that, moving the Towns end of it. I have no issues with that. Because even if we got a company in here that can be around for the day, again, they can give us some, you know, information on some stuff, or give some training classes when they don't have things to do. I mean, there's so many things they can do. You know, it's just, I feel like we don't get anything. I mean, we're literally running basic software right now, and we have the capability to run a lot more.
What's our contract through with them?
Well, we don't have anything.
We still have to bid them.
Well, we can, as long as we you know, we stick with it and we go with somebody for the town now.
I think our service agreement is through the end of the year, or February. One of them was February, wasn't it? Like a weird.
Mine's February.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for the
So,
general maintenance.
but listen, I just want good service, and I want to get our stuff working 100%. And again, I need the service that me and Barb are running around taking care of everybody's IT issues all day long. Because that's what's happening here. I mean, right, Barb? I mean, we got, you know, again, Courts is always calling us because they don't maintain that, you know, I mean, so.
Yeah, and to avoid getting charged extra, we just do it.
You know, I mean, for the money we're spending, again, that's just me, but if I was them, I'd be sending down a representative quarterly to go through the building and make sure everything's running correctly and everything, and I spoke to them about it, and still, it hasn't happened, you know, but I guess when you don't stop to check. You know. So you know, and again, it's not me, it's everybody saying in, you know, in town, you know, issues that we have. I mean, we can go on and on, but. So you know, again, I mean, the police, it might be working great, that's awesome, but for the town end of it, for the money they're charging the town end, I think that it's time to look elsewhere. I mean, maybe not go with a person, that's fine, go with another company, but the stuff that we're running is not, you know, we're not running space shuttles, you know. If you guys would like to put something out to bid, I'm all for it. That's all I have on IT.
Who's next?
Right.
Mine's more of a sensitive issue, you know, regards to the budget. Non-union employees, and so some things I've seen in the budget, again, it's nothing, no reflection on any employee or department head or anything of that nature. But So our 1.5%, that equates to what, 17,000-ish? What's that, what's the number?
Depends on what I mean, the total increase in taxes that are taxed, it's 86,225%. Is what was total tax last year.
So some of the things I've noticed, and here again, it relates to the salaries. Paul, you're doing a great job, and I think you had in the budget last year an increase, which we all agreed to and feel as though we're getting our benefit from it. I'm just gonna be honest with you, and you know me, just say how it is. I'm not in agreement for another increase for yourself. Again, I'm not saying, like you said, not doing a good job, but I think there's, that money could be allocated towards some other lower personnel, paid personnel, I should say. We have a lot of several positions that are, in my opinion, low-paying positions that with a 3%, it's going to take them a long time. They're dedicated employees, and they're in the low 30s. It takes, again, it's a 3%, it's $900. At the end of the day, it takes a long time. So, looking at the assessors, it looks as though we have a 5% increase in wage. Again, I think that position is paid fairly well. So there's, if you gave it 3%, there's an additional, difference from 3 to 5 is $1,100. So you take that plus the increase for the supervisor. I mean, right there alone, you almost have $5,000. Sorry, Herb, yours too. I mean, you throw in another, $1,900 from Herb, and then, sorry, Barb, but we gave Barb a nice increase last year, deserving with the additional responsibilities. But as you get these higher salaries and you add those 3%, it gets to be big dollars. And with the increase last year, that's another $2,100 there. So combined, it's almost $9,000 savings. Again, I know it's a sensitive subject because we're talking salaries, but I think it's, it's justifiable. Again, in a $15.5 million budget, $9,000 probably is a drop in the bucket. But if we want to take that $9,000 and allocate it towards different departments that are get these salaries, in my opinion, to where they probably should be, is what I'd like to see.
If I could comment, I have no problem with no increase in my salary. And I would concur that I'd like to see that go to people who are making less money. I just want you to know, in terms of time, you can't believe the number of hours that I put into this position, which is a, quote, 20-hour or 15-hour a week position, which I'll probably put 30 or 40. I can't even comprehend how many hours Paul Michione's putting in, because
I only saved you $15,000 at the rec center in the last 3 weeks.
he's here constantly. He's in communication with me, with text, emails, constantly. The job he's done with the parks, and I don't care about myself, but Jim, I just want you to realize the time commitment that gets put in. We've defended, between Paul and I, all the tax certiorari proceedings that you were paying somebody $80,000 or $100,000 to defend, and we've taken care of almost all of them. And I clearly, I'll go on the record, don't give me a raise, that's fine. But I just want you to understand the amount of time and the fact that if you look back at the prior town attorneys in the last couple administrations who were maybe making $160,000 or $180,000 and not even attending board meetings. I go to every planning board, every zoning board meeting. I participate, I'm prepared. If you went to last night's meeting, I had a stack of papers this high preparing for it. So as far as I'm concerned, that's great with me, and take me out. But I just want you to realize and it's public service. And as far as I'm concerned with me, I'm happy with that. And I hope you do take me out. But I gotta tell you, this guy puts in, I just can't, he's fixing things, he's wiring things. I mean, I just can't imagine the amount of time that he puts in. And has saved us in terms of a parks director, but I won't say anything.
No.
But please take me
No,
out.
and Herb, please don't. Like
I
said
don't,
earlier,
no.
I mean, like I said, it's just something that I
If
do.
you need to cut money to give somebody with a lesser salary, I'm on board. Take mine out. Thank God I don't need the raise, but I'm happy to throw that in, and hopefully somebody in another position that might be making 28 or 30,000 may get what I was going to get, or part of what I was going to get.
Right.
And I'm glad to do that.
And for the record too, I know how many hours you put in. I've been, 6 years now. I know what you put in, and I know we're getting a great value for it.
And you've
So
always
don't
been very
misunderstand.
responsive to a call, you know, you're always there.
It's great.
And I know
Right.
surgeries are very, I think we've made out better with you representing us.
And
than
Paul,
than we have
he's
going
been
outside.
at the table arguing that the capitalization rate that they're coming in with is
Right.
absurd.
Right.
I can't do that. I don't have that knowledge and expertise. He has.
And we sat here, the majority of us sat here and under previous administration, and we fought those, and we lost. I mean, it was just, and it cost the town, the taxpayers a lot of money, so that's, to your point, Herb, I mean, you guys are both doing a great job. I'm just looking at it from, this perspective, and again, I know it's sensitive, but I look at it as the other personnel. It just seems as though, I don't want to lose those folks that are committed to us and to the town, that come here day in, day out and see $900. I just think it's sad. That's just my opinion. So I just think that it was equally dispersed, or get these folks to be a little bit more. I think you get, more happier employees.
I deal with both of those employees a lot, and they're both, when I call, they're there. I don't have to go around the town looking for the town supervisor, if I need contact signed, whatever. He's around because he's putting more hours in, not like what I've had in the past. He's here, he's doing more, he's available to me anytime I call, anytime, he's available. And that work together means a lot, getting things done in the town.
Thanks, Rick. And listen, I don't mind giving it to somebody that needs it, because I don't need it. It wasn't a point of putting it in there, because this is my main job. So, I mean, if somebody needs it, that's fine. I don't have any issues with that. And I do the stuff I do because I want to do it. I enjoy working with everybody. I mean, when I'm down at the rec center and fixing hot water tanks because the companies want to charge us $5,000 and we do it for, $75. Or, when we got a breaker that was $10,000 and I go over there and take care of it, and now we didn't have to spend that $10,000. And I'm over at the park. I want to do those things anyway, so that's not really what the raise is for. But one thing I want to say, though, that is very costly, probably for me because I have a big truck, is that again, I'm going out, I'm out there every day in my truck. I mean, it's expensive at the end of the day. And it's, $75 a week. It's mostly for the town because I'm riding around, stopping and going Rick. So, again, and that's all fine if it goes to the right person that needs the money. I'd rather give it to them. But again, if we're going to do that, and then we're just going to give it to Polchi, so me and Bart can do their job, that's upsetting. So I guess we got to look, if we're going to look at it, really nickel dime things for a couple $1,000 or $900 for her, or $1,500, whatever it might be. Let's look at the bigger picture. Let's nickel and dime the stuff we really need to focus on. Again, like I said, me and Barb were here after 5 o'clock at night to take her raise away from her when she took a full-time person that was my secretary before, making $50,000 alone plus benefits, which was almost $70,000 that was here for every administration. And now I have a part-time secretary coming in 2 days a week, and Barb takes all the rest. When I call her on Saturday, when I call her on Sunday, when she's there for me, to upset her to take $1,000 away. Again, I'd rather take it away from Polchi that gives their job to Barb, and Barb's doing it, than to take her salary away. So you can take mine away, because I'll be fine, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter to me, that's fine. If you guys think that that's a big improvement for the town to take away a few $1,000s, that's fine. But to take it away from Barb, I think is ridiculous, because she's been here for, I don't know, 20 years or more, and you know, she went through the ranks, and she's done her job, and again, to me, she's an asset. And if she doesn't come in and does what she needs, you guys need to hire me a full-time secretary, which is gonna cost you about another $50,000 a year. So if you wanna think wise here, I would watch who you take the raise away from, and Barb's not one of them. Because if she just comes in from 8:30 to 4, like most employees do, and leave at 3:59, guess what? I'm in trouble, and we need a new secretary. Because there's no way I could do everything that Barb does for me during the day.
She does a good bit of mind typing.
It's unbelievable what she does. I mean, she comes here on Saturday, she's working. I mean, again, to take her salary or her raise away is ridiculous. Again, get me a new secretary, make the town spend 50 grand again like you used to, and then she can go home at 4 o'clock with everybody else. But again, I don't care. I mean, it doesn't matter to me. I mean, but for her, I think it's ridiculous. Again, does Herb need it? Maybe not, but he deserves it though. Again, another person, everybody might say what they want to say, but Herb's there every waking minute for the town. You've seen the legal fees that we've saved in the last 2 years. You've seen the work that we've done. I mean, again, most stuff now is done in-house. I mean, we don't go out. We're not paying. We're not wasting money. All our money is going to Rick's department for roads or police or cars or this or that. We're buying stuff now. The residents finally get to see where their money's going. So again, take it away from me, whatever, but again, for Barb, it's ridiculous, and you're just gonna upset her, and I would be upset if I was her right now, even hearing that, and it would hurt my day going to work for a measly $1,500. I mean, which after taxes is probably what, $800, $900. So again, you gotta do what you want, but she saved you 50 grand easy, because again, I have full-time secretary and full-time benefits. And if I hire another full-time secretary benefits, you're gonna pay those benefits for the rest of the town's life again until that person passes away. So I think the plan that we have, I think really makes sense. And again, I just, you know, that's where I'm at. So you guys wanna do what you wanna do.
Again, like I prefaced in the beginning, it has nothing to do with the work ethic or anything like that. So it's nothing to do with any individual, period. I'm just saying, I'm looking at this from a point of numbers, simply numbers. Okay, so if you're gonna get emotional about it or anything like that, then, you know, and I'm not nickel diming anything, so, that's it, I'm done.
So take my raise out of it, because I don't need it.
Mine's out.
Yeah, so me and Herb are gone. I refuse to take Barb's out of it.
Whether you guys want to or not, I'm taking mine out.
Yeah, actually.
So you don't have to vote on it. I voluntarily removed it.
So take those out, Bill. So who are we gonna give my raise to that needs it?
We're in a good direction, guys. The town's in a good direction. Let's keep it going. Lots happened over the last couple of years.
Do you want to spread it among the clerks that we have in the office? Now, it may not amount to much, but at least it would be somewhat of a token raise. You're willing to give it
I
back.
know Dory, without Joe, is going to be putting in even more time. I don't know how you handle that, but she puts in an awful lot of time. I rely on Allison all the time to help me out with town issues and getting me minutes and things such as that. I mean, I don't know how you're going to do it, but we do have some very, very valuable
Right.
employees that deserve.
Did you have specific employees in mind? I think Allison was one of them, right?
Yeah, Allison, you have Mel, you have Teresa. All those are, in my opinion,
Well, Teresa's, we went over this because I was gonna give her, we talked about this, she's in the union contract. right now. So the only way to do anything with her is I have to open up the contract, so.
For everybody.
If we open up the contract, now we gotta open it up for everybody in that whole department.
That's not a good idea.
No, I didn't want this, so I went down that road already.
Okay.
So I say we give it to Allison. I'm all for that.
She's here at the meeting.
She's the best, so give it to Allison, how's that? Is that fair enough?
She probably doesn't want it, we didn't.
You're gonna decline.
No, don't decline, I think she deserves it, you're right, she does deserve it. She does deserve it. And then on the other end, for the assessor's part of it, she waives her benefits, and when she joined up, she went down almost 20,000 from our last assessor. So, you know, again, she re-signed a new 7-year, you know, with us, so we raised her salary a little bit, 2% extra, because she waived the benefits for another, you know, 7 years. So
Not
again,
getting benefits.
exactly, so that's a $30,000 savings over
Right.
7 years.
And she does a great job.
Exactly, so that's $210,000 savings to the $1,500 extra I gave her. So I thought that was a good negotiation.
Right, if we shift those dollars, taxes go up 1.5, is that correct? If the bottom line remains the same.
Yeah, which is, it's gonna be what it is. No change. Just a little bit.
But it may go lower, right, because you,
I looked at some things with health insurance.
right to the health insurance, so.
Yeah, we have a picture.
That's why he's waiting.
I know, that's why I stopped, because I know there's other.
You wanted to set us all up.
That's right.
He's gonna reduce the tax.
I guess that's you.
So are we gonna change, so let's give my salary increase to Allison, is that good? To change, switch that?
Well, what is that percentage? Let's be reasonable. I don't know what that figure.
I, to be honest, did you see, I mean, that,
She's at 27, currently.
yeah,
Right, should be somewhat
30 something.
comparable.
be 30.
Right.
So I think that's fair. Is that good?
Sorry.
Okay, so Dave, Dan, you change that then with us? Okay.
Give her back.
Yeah, give her hers.
You gotta give mine to somebody.
Yes, that's right, that's what I'm saying. What are the other shortfalls? Potential shortfalls.
You can't do Teresa.
No, if you're that. Who?
Dory.
Well, isn't there an issue with,
Yeah, she's already retired, though. I don't think we should go
I
down
don't
that
think we
road.
can do it.
Yeah, probably, you're right.
And she's retired, I mean, she's got, so it's not,
Right.
you know. Honestly, I don't really think there's anybody, I mean,
Could you slide it over there into codes just in case? Not knowing what.
we got enough in there, even at part-time, we're way ahead of 55.
So
There's
Larry's.
maybe we'll hire somebody like in 55 if we're going to go out to bid. This
He's
is
getting
where-
an increase, but not.
Yeah, 3% there it is.
Yeah. With less duties.
It doesn't mean we have to spend it. I mean, it would be,
I
that's
guess.
up to you. That's an unknown. We don't know what's going to happen.
We'll just take it out of the budget completely, that's all. Right, give it back to that, right? So hers will get back.
Sure.
Okay, so mine's Allison's, hers is back in. Okay, so we got that done.
Now you're gonna let him.
You're
He's
nice.
ready.
Go ahead.
All right, let me explain to you where we are with the health insurance. Just give you a little history lesson. Where the rates are is based on if you have employees of 100 or more, you have more negotiating power as to what the rates are. If you have less than 100, rates are lower. What we have is we have 14 employee plans, 3 employee or children, employee or spouse 13, and family plans 23. This is total of 53, so every one doesn't actually count as one. you could have a family plan, you could have 8 people on it, and it still only counts as one. So that kind of goes against us. What I see, how it's out in these school districts do it is they have a consortium where they go through BOCES. They have 8 or 9 school districts going together to go over the threshold. Probably eventually, what we might want to do is maybe talk to the county, see if that's something we want to look at things as a whole, as an example, or have a consortium of other municipalities where everybody, because everybody's in the same boat if you're under 100. So with that being said, I talked to our broker. He suggested if we looked at it's a gold plan, just as we have now. It's got a little higher out of pocket, but the claims history shows that the majority of our people don't meet the out of pocket currently on the plan they are on. So if we went higher, we're still not going to meet it. We're still going to save that money on the HSA, and with the premium, he figures it could be a $43,000 savings. If that's something you guys would want to entertain, he'd be more than willing to come to the next meeting and explain everything in full.
This would be for the non-union.
Right.
How many non-union are there?
There isn't that many money because it's all parks, highway, police.
Those are contractual.
Right.
But we'd say $40,000.
Between the premium and the HSA part of it. If that's something you want to entertain, you'll certainly come in
I think we should do that.
Okay.
Have a committee talk.
and help explain the savings. But that's potentially what we're looking at. If we want
It's the
to-
same plan, only a higher out of pocket.
Correct.
What is the higher?
We go from 5,600 to 7,200. It's, right now, we're probably at 50 or 60% of the people that don't even meet the 5,600. So his thought was if they're not meeting the 5,600 based on our claims history, they might meet the 7,200. So there is no,
50%,
yeah,
what? So you'd be at 100% not making, which I
and if they don't meet the out-of-pocket, we're not paying the HSA, which is a savings. And of course, the union ones, we have to, that's all negotiated, so it's nothing we can do there.
Does this, our current plan mirror what the unions have?
Yes.
And if we're gonna save money doing it this way, then we should, at contract time, try to have them mirror.
Yeah, and there's certain groups that, through their claims history, some are using the insurance more than others too. That's something we're going to have to look at too, as maybe asking for a bigger contribution in the future to offset some of that possibly.
Is there midway between what the current deduction is versus what they're proposing, or like instead of 72, is there a 62?
They would keep it mostly in line to where it is. The gold, 2 gold plans, you know, for gold, silver, bronze, there's probably about 17 different choices you could select. But these are kind of apples to apples. You just have a higher out of pocket.
I think we're doing a disservice if we don't look at it. Everybody's insurance is going up, everybody's out of pocket is going up. I think we have to look at it.
And if you're under the 100, it's not only us, it's other towns and villages looking at the same thing where we could
Combine it.
you know.
Have you talked to anybody else? Any other town or village?
I have not, I'd like to learn more how the school districts do it, because they deal with union contracts. Can you, in town of New Hartford, have this gold plan, and Kirkland have something else and still be part of the same?
When you were at the Association of Towns, did you see any seminars at all dealing with, I would think the Association of Towns at that annual meeting would have something for the municipalities to try and keep health care costs under control.
That's a big thing too with the tax cap. We're forced to stay under 2%, but our rates are going up by 8%.
Yeah.
It's not like a problem here with some of New York State.
To your point, I don't think there
There wasn't any.
I don't recall a new Richard.
You know, I think it probably the executive board at some point is going to have to address that development. That's what it's like. You want me to have our broker come in and
I think
speak? Okay, I'll have him here for the next meeting.
So how do you want to do that in the budget then? You want to take out 43,000 for this plan? Or?
Because, or you want to wait to see what he says first?
I mean, it's a good plan. I mean, again, it's all about just the deductibles. If they're not using it,
It's apples to apples, right?
yeah.
Just, the odd pockets,
I mean, it makes sense to do that, and even if we put a few dollars in contingency in case we wanted to say we want to make up the extra couple dollars on the deductible, we're still ahead. 43,000 is a no-brainer. I mean, us not to do it would be great.
I think it helps with the negotiations, because you can always say,
Well, I'm going to present it to Parks because their contract's up in
Right,
December.
I think we should be trying to mirror it with each.
and what may help you too, Paul, is our broker keeps track of the claims history, so you know the usage.
Right.
Different, and that'll help you.
And that's still not bad, because my noise deductible is more than that, so I mean, it's not a bad plan.
We've traditionally paid the HSA to cover that, so we're not using it, we're also saving on the end.
So we're taking it out of the budget.
I would, I mean, why wouldn't we?
That's what I'm looking at.
Yeah, I mean, it's 43, it's half our budget, or half our increase, right? We're at 86,000.
Is that just for non-union, is that all whole time? Isn't there some non-union? So it's all whole time?
You all hold it on.
Yeah, no, because that'd be highway.
Is that through itself?
No, you have a couple in part-time, because you'd have registrar and you'd have codes.
But again, $43,000 saving, that's huge.
Great job, Rich.
Yeah, good job, 43, it's half our increase right there.
I think that's something we ought to look into in the future to see who else might be interested to push that number over 100. Usually a lot more garden probably.
Yeah.
And for the liability insurance, do we go for bid for that? Or what do
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we're actually locked in for 3 years for that low rate. It was like $10,000 or $15,000 cheaper. So that one, we're actually good. We save money on that.
And I would suggest that every year we do this exercise, because you don't know what to do, opportunities may.
Yeah, no, this is great news. Okay. So we'll take out 43. Okay, so 43 and then get her salary. How much is that? No, just, right?
45 or so.
Okay. Anything else you guys can look at that we can take out?
I know the grass cutting went way up, but I know that Joe was saying that they got bombarded this year.
Oh, yeah.
Was it more properties that are vacant, or was it just because of all the rain and it so fast, or?
But we get reimbursed on.
Yeah, we get reimbursed from the county on that part, yeah. So that's a lot.
Okay, just.
There was a couple of very small items that benefits, disability insurance, $46.
Well, that's because I think that's all we used, right?
Yeah, it's just based on.
This year's.
Yeah. No, it is kind
And hospital medical insurance administration, $100. They just stand out as, what is this?
yeah. If you're looking at Old Town,
Part-town,
again, it's just based on historical.
okay, all right. Employee benefits, $1,000,005.
That 2,700 for that band concert, is that? It's not even in the town, is it? Yeah. Why do you pay for it?
Well,
Yeah. Oh, okay.
village pays too.
Oh, do they?
Workers' comp went down, again, that's based on history.
You get those numbers from the
Right.
county
Right.
based on, yeah, historical claims.
The bond council, we're not gonna bond this year. You take that 4,500 out probably, right?
I would, I'd rather keep it in, just in case, you know, if there's a fuel ban, we ain't talking about going a ban, if there's expenses with that, something. It's up to you.
Because we got that in fiscal advisors, 9,500 there you guys can take out if you want. Why don't you do that? And we'll be up to 60,000.
Fiscal advisors, it's the bond council, right?
Yeah, but if we go through Adirondack Bank, we don't even need them, like we did for the bonds.
Right.
So why don't we take that out, Dan, 9,500, take that out, both of those. So like we got 43 at 95, we got 1,500. So we're up to 54. So we gotta come up with another 30 grand. Right? Well, then we're gonna have a tax increase.
I'm trying to get the 86 up.
We're close.
Let's pick on the supervisor again. What is equipment?
For what?
5,000
Where's that?
supervisor.
Where is it?
Right there in the page, 1
On board personal services?
No,
No.
8/12/20/22.
Oh, Well, that was for a new computer,
Okay.
for the office, but you know what, take that out, take that $5,000 out, I don't need it. I got my own, yeah, I'm good. Take that out. Now we're up to 59,000.
If you had all my salaries, you'd be,
Huh?
if you had all the salaries I took out, it would have been, what, 69, 79?
I don't know, is that what it is?
Yeah, probably. But, you know, when I went first, everybody jumps on me, but when you're looking at all this, it's not nickels and dimes now.
No.
Now it has to be real dollars.
Well, because Rich came up with a good idea to do the health insurance, or else we'd still only be at 15 grand. Again, it's not gonna upgrade a couple of things that we're gonna do, so. And when it comes to banding and Adirondack, I'll be doing the work with Dan instead of fiscal advisor that we pay, so, yeah, I guess we could do that, which we are, so we're down to 59.
What's your plan for the parks for?
It's up to you guys. Take it out some stuff on there too, if you want.
Well, I think the parks are, there's been some huge improvements there. And certainly this summer was a success in the parks. And it's, I think success is defined by usage, participation, and it's not so much a money thing, but rather a quality of life. And the participation was tremendous. So kudos on that.
Especially pickleball courts, those have a lot of use.
Yeah, I mean, it really looks nice out there.
I don't think of it.
Listen, if you put time into this stuff, it works out. If you don't put no time, you got nothing, but you hand the pass, so, you know what I mean?
And I was at the rec center today, they were putting a chiller in. It's a huge project.
Rick can help me with the drainage at the parks. We can take that 12,000 out. You wanna take that out?
Can you have Rick do it?
Yeah, me and Rick will go out there with the machine.
No,
No?
no, Rick's got other things he needs to be doing.
No, just me and Rick. Not anybody else. Because we can get it in with the guys.
That's okay.
I really want the guys to
But
help.
but remember, he's in charge.
We can run it from the parks, that's all.
Go with it.
Well, at 59, doesn't that put you under 1%? Is that under a 1% increase? It's gotta be less than 1%.
Yeah. So you were down to 59?
Well, we took out
They
50.
took out 59 out of 86.
So we're only having taxes of 27,000. Yeah, it's less than 1%.
How much less?
It's 0.5%.
It's a 0.5%, because a whole percent out, so it's a 0.5% increase.
With all the other increases that just come naturally with the contracts and
Yeah.
I think we do a disservice if we zero. And I don't like to see any tax increase, but let's be real too.
If it's less than 1%, it's really. It's a resolution to adopt the tentative budget as amended as a preliminary budget.
So moved.
Motion by Rich. Second by Rich. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. Okay. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Dave, second by Jim. All in favor? Aye.